Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this Thursday, October 5th, 2023. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. United States House, chaos in the House, puts the future of Ukrainian aid in doubt. Says Biden expresses worry. Says the ouster of U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday has put the question of failure of the future of the U.S. military aid to Ukraine in further doubt, with President Joe Biden expressing worry on Wednesday. Biden's request for another $24 billion to ensure Ukraine defense effort is funded through the rest of the year was already in jeopardy after the funds were removed from short-term spending deal that prevented a government shutdown last week. Okay, so we know what's happening with that. Now, here's another story I'm following. Look right here. You see where that thing's headed? It's headed toward me. This is the third one in a year. And two of them, the first one we got was a Category 4. Of course, they downgraded it to a Category 2 by the time it hit us. The last one we got was a Category 5. Of course, they downgraded it to a Category 1 when it hit us. But still, Category 1 and Category 2 hurricanes, you feel them. Trees come down. I mean, it was rough. We've had 3 in a year. This is enough. But here she comes, another one. Let's take a look now here. What's this article about? The futures are easing. Futures erase early losses with eyes on yields. They got their eyes on the bond yields in the market right now. They're probably fixated with that 10-year just like I am. And we're going to take a look at the yields, what the bonds are doing today in a minute or two. But, we've had a bond bubble burst in here. And watching very carefully what the dollar index is doing. Those two things right now, I think, are going to become the big story. The dollar could go over 110, and the U.S. 10-year Treasury could easily exceed 5%. Not in the long-term future either. Of course, as the dollar goes up like that, it's going to make it harder and harder for a lot of countries and stuff have borrowed in dollars, and paying that back gets extremely hard. But not only that, just even domestically. Things like credit card bills and things like that, interest payments, with interest payments going up and dollars in the dollar going high, what a mess it's going to create within the system. And it's all going to start to unfold pretty darn soon. Taking a look at this. Russia-Ukraine war. Russia warns of an escalation if the United States stations nuclear bombs in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom's already got a whole bunch of nuclear bombs. I think they got like 220 or something like that. Now, here, this article I was looking at, I found interesting. It says that immediate need. They have an immediate need to build 20 miles of border wall in South Texas. So they're going to build that wall. Gee, where have I heard that before? My lands, I'm telling you. If you study history, realize that history repeats itself quite often. And one of the things I'm getting at here is right now, this historical time that we're in right now, very much looks like the lead-in to World War II, or even World War I. Except this time is a little bit different. Of course, every time is different, somewhat different, but history does repeat itself quite often. Getting in there and taking a look at the silver price today, you know, it's at 2081. It's down 18 cents. Silver is awfully cheap right now. It's been oversold right now. Even this paper garbage that they're dealing with on this exchange is way oversold. Been an awful push down on gold and silver. 2081. Oh my gosh, that's just nailing the price down. 1816 for gold. It's down $4.20. Cryptocurrency today. We're looking at Bitcoin price at 27,485 and Ethereum price is 1616 and XRP is at 52 cents, 52.19 cents or 53 cents you might as well say. So the cryptos are doing pretty good. Taking a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average today, it's 131 points to the downside at 32,998. Now I'm going to show you guys right here where what I'm watching. This is what I'm looking for right now. To see if this is what I'm looking for, and what I've been looking for is this sharp crash in the markets that's going to turn the Fed around and going to create havoc within the financial system. Because what's going to happen is it's like all the stars are aligned. But the market could be the trigger for action. And I'll show you exactly what I'm looking for. This line right here at 32,000, I'm looking for over the next short period of time, I don't know, maybe a week or two. I'm looking for this to continue its downward trend and cross that line without any major moves up. Maybe a small move up here or there, maybe up 100 points here or there, but to continue with this downward trend until it crosses this line right here at 32,000. That's my defining point where I say, hey, yeah, this is probably it. And if we see it cross that line going down below 32,000 into, say, 21,920, then I think it's going to continue and it's going to gain momentum. You know, so I'm watching the market very carefully right now because we're at that point, at an inflection point, where all that money they put into the system during COVID era, I'm expecting it to run out at a certain point here and not be supporting anything any longer. And of course, because the system is so over leveraged, at that point, when we cross that threshold, everything's going to start to fall. Everything. Except the dollar. But, you know, I mean, there's probably a few guys out there in my audience who are like rooting for deflation. You're hoping that deflation's going to come along because you're all in dollars. You're sitting on a pile of dry powder, and you're sitting there saying to yourself, hey, you know what? When the dollar really gets like that, well, you're going to be able to scoop things up for pennies on the dollar. And I'm waiting for that, rubbing their hands together, waiting for it. The problem with that is yeah, it's probably going to happen, but it's going to be so short-lived. Because when that starts to happen, the central banks are going to be right in there. Do you remember how fast they can react? Think back to the Silicon Valley crisis, when the banks were failing. They have emergency meetings. They come together and they have emergency meetings. And then on the other side of that emergency meeting, everything's changed. They got so much power. They can quite literally just pull $20 trillion out of their hat without worrying about the consequences. And they will if they have to. They will do whatever it takes. But they're only going to do what it takes when there's a problem. And the only way you're going to get these bargains of buying stuff on pennies of the dollar is if there's a massive problem in the system. And they're going to fix it as fast as they can. So it's kind of like a race. Yeah, you might be able to get in there with your dollars. But the problem is it's going to be so short-lived because you're working against a central bank that can come in faster than you can and inject massive amounts of liquidity, and everything will then spring the other way, in the opposite direction. Don't think that they won't do it. Don't start sitting there saying, oh, this time's different. This time they're not going to, there's nothing the Fed can do. They got no tools. I've heard all this stuff before. They've got an unlimited money printer. They've already told you they have an unlimited money printer. And nothing that they can do, they can print. And they will. They will print to infinity, and they can do it overnight. The next day you wake up and it's all changed. Everything. And we're back to worrying about inflation roaring away because that's what will happen. And I mean, this inflation that we saw, this little bout of inflation, like what did it go up to? According to their metric, 8%. But actually it was probably around 15-20% at its worst. They knocked that down a little bit. Yeah, they did. But, guys, that is... They knocked the inflation down just a little bit. They say to 3-point-something%. And they say, oh, we're upset because we didn't reach our 2% goal and all this kind of crap. They're so full of crap. I'm telling you guys, the Fed. But they do know how to play you. And they do know how to make you think that this time it's different. That this time they're... And this is all part of their ruse to try to buy time in this whole thing. And they've bought months and months and months. Look how strong the dollar is right now. What is it, 106, 107, 106? On the Dixie? The dollar should be like going down the toilet right now, but it's not, and this is the Fed. But it's this same trick that's going to fool everybody into thinking, hey, I better save in dollars. And then they destroy the dollar. Never forget what they can do to the dollar with that printing press. They can print as many dollars as there are leaves on the trees out there. Just a little pep talk, because we all know where this is actually going to go in the end. They're not going to let the system fail. The system's so over-leveraged that the system would fail if they don't do anything. If they just... Once the collapse starts, it would get out of control, and the system would deleverage, and it would just fall flat, like Humpty Dumpty. They will never let that happen because the system supports them. And it keeps them in their positions of power, and it keeps them rich. And they'll do whatever they have to do to save the system. And if it means printing $20 trillion, it's all their decision, too. Look, if you don't believe that, look at the start of the COVID epidemic when they were in a little bit of a panic situation. What did they do? Oh, sure, let's just borrow, the CARES package, whatever. Let's send everybody stimmy checks. Let's do this, let's do that. Overnight they did it. And you just hear about it after the fact. You hear about it after they tell you that they've done it, that they're going to do it, that they're doing it. That's when you know about it. So on this side of this thing, it looks like a good idea to save dollars up and hoard dollars and keep dry powder because it looks like we're headed toward deflation. That's what it looks like. But overnight, when the problem arises, they will just do what they're going to do, and then you find out about it the next day. And what it's going to be is it's going to be support the system. And there's only one thing they can really do is print money. So they're just going to print money and support the system. Massive amounts of it, whatever it takes to to bring the system back online and keep everything running smoothly. We saw them do that again and again and again. How many times you guys going to get fooled by it? We saw it at the beginning of the COVID crisis when they opened up that window to save the banks, the reverse repo window. We saw it again there not long ago with the SVB crisis. $400 billion in 1 week they printed and loaned it to the banks. And there's another thing, guys. That $400 billion that they loaned the banks, and they bought all of their crap. And that's exactly what it was. It was they bought it $1 on the dollar, and it was only worth 50 cents on the dollar in a loan. Well, this saved the banks. But when does the loan expire? 1 year. And that was quite a little while ago. What was it? I can't remember exactly when the loan started. But I know it's probably going to be coming due in less than 6 months. What then? I mean, this is just kicking the can, but ultimately there's going to be no road left in the end. Taking a look now at oil. Or is this oil? Yeah, this is oil. $83.53. Boy, it should come down quite a little bit. And this could be a signal that I see deflation yields low oil prices because they don't consume as much oil during deflation. Oil can be like a canary in a coal mine. A dropping oil price could signal deflation, and a rising oil price signals inflation. But that's just the signal it puts off. Well, of course, there's a lot of other indicators. But, I don't ignore what's happening with this little price drop in oil over the last few days. Let's take a look now at bonds and rates. Now, here's the big ones I'm really watching. The U.S. Treasury bonds. The 10-year right now is at 4.72, and it's down 1.2 basis points. And the U.S. 30-year year is at 4.88, and it's up a half a basis point today, or 0.4 of a basis point. Taking a look at the dollar index today is at 106.47. The dollar. Which way is it moving? It looks like it's going down today a little bit. Yeah, the dollar's dropping today. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye, guys.